subconscious foot firmly on the brake, especially when it comes to money. So let's drill down and find out why with a quick and easy lesson in neuroscience. Now this is our brain, and if it had a CEO, it'd be this part in red, the neocortex. This is what's responsible for critical and intelligent thinking. Now what's interesting about the brain is that it operates at different frequencies depending on what state you're in. In fact, throughout history, one of the hallmarks of a genius was their ability to control their brain frequencies at will, allowing them to enter states like accelerated learning or super focus or incredible creativity, or even be able to instantly relax at will. Now, when it comes to your brain and my brain, our neocortex operates mainly at the frequency known as beta, or 12 to 18 cycles per second. But what's interesting is that the ability to use beta doesn't get turned on until we're about 7 years old, when we experience kind of a brain puberty. Before that, we operate mainly in theta, which is around 4 to 7 cycles per second, which is also where we dream. And when we dream, we generally accept information without questioning it. For example, if we see a deceased relative, we don't say, hang on a minute, it's Uncle Fred. He died 5 years ago. What's he doing here? Oh, I know, it must be a dream. No, we don't question because our neocortex doesn't operate down at theta, and we keep dreaming, accepting without question virtually everything that happens. Now, how is this connected to the fact that most people don't achieve the success that they want, no matter how hard they work? Well, let me share a quick scenario with you, and it'll become crystal clear. Let's say it's Dad's turn to take the kids shopping, and that day Dad happens to be frustrated. He's dealing with problems at work, he's trying to figure out how he's going to pay the credit card that month and a million other things. And as he's going down the aisle, little 6-year-old Johnny in the cart spots a toy and he says, hey Daddy, can I have a toy? Now, Daddy's not thinking about toys. He's still juggling finances in his head. He says, no toys today. But as every parent knows, kids are masters of persistence. And so Johnny says, oh, please, Daddy, I really want a toy. And he starts bugging Dad. And in his frustration, Dad snaps at the child and says, no, you can't have a toy. You're not being good enough. You don't deserve one. And he goes back to his big world problems, thinking that'll keep him quiet. But something significant is now happening to little Johnny. See, Johnny doesn't live in a world of credit card debt. He just sees the toy and he wants the toy. But nor does he live in a world of critical thinking. All he hears is, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve it. Now, if he was 8 or 9 years old, he'd have had access to the front of his brain, at which point he might have looked at his brother and says, oh, hey Tommy, caught Dad in a bad mood. I know, I'll ask again when he's in a better one. But instead, he accepts unconditionally the fact that he's not good enough and that he's undeserving, and then spends the rest of his life living up to, or more accurately, down to his own expectations. And this has now been proven in study after study to be one of the greatest hidden causes of self-sabotage and financial blocks later in life. Why? Because our outer world actions follow our inner world programming, regardless of how smart or intelligent the front part of our brain is. Now, let me explain it one final way before we move on here, guys, because if you're serious about creating any lasting change or more abundance in your life, it's critical to understand this. So think of it this way. Your conscious mind is like an ant. Here he is, cute little guy, hardworking, industrious, able to solve problems, make smart decisions. In fact, I know this ant. His name is Anthony. And last week, he went to a personal growth seminar for ants, where he bought some new courses. He even hired an ant coach that specializes in how to become a more successful ant. And he's made some new plans. He's put a vision board together, and he's now working hard, proudly walking north towards his new goals. The problem is that your little ant is walking across the back of a very large elephant, your subconscious programming that is marching south. And no amount of motivation, goals, or trying to learn new knowledge mastery is going to shift that. Now, there is a powerful way to do it, and we are going to cover it in shift number 4. But what I'm revealing here now is the number 1 law in personal growth. And please tattoo this on the inside of your eyelids. You can never rise above the opinion of yourself, no matter how hard you work. Now, just reflect for a moment based upon what resonated earlier and realize how frustrating it is to be trapped in a life where you didn't know that. And please remember, this is not the opinion of your ant at the front of your brain. That's always going to tell you in a loud voice that you want the goals, the new house, you deserve the better body or relationship. I mean, nobody wakes up and deliberately says, hey, I know what would be fun. Let's procrastinate to sabotage my potential and screw up my life today. No. And this is why failure is not linked to intelligence, which is why more knowledge mastery won't help. Instead, it's linked to something much deeper and something nobody talks about, because most people just don't understand the biology of it. And that brings us to the third shift, which really is the secret weapon of self-mastery. And that is breaking cell inertia. Breaking what? Guys, listen, what you're about to discover is the answer to why most people stay stuck at the same level of success no matter what they try. And this is all based on the latest science and discoveries in neurobiology, but it's the missing piece in personal growth. And it starts with understanding the inescapable law known as the law of conformity, which simply states environment beats will. In other words, you're hardwired to adapt to your environment. Now, this becomes obvious if we take a health example. Now, we all know that if you put your body in the gym, it's going to give you biceps. Whereas if you put it in McDonald's, you're going to get triceps. You see, your body doesn't care which environment you put it in. Its job is to adapt to the one you choose. And while you can have all the willpower in the world to grow your biceps while you munch your cheeseburger each day, the law states environment beats will. Now, in the gym versus McDonald's example, that's not exactly what you'd call a revelation. But here's what most people don't know. You have around 50 trillion cells in your body, give or take, and every single one of them is governed by the same law, meaning they are programmed to adapt to their environment. Now, the outer surface of your cells have what are called receptor sites, and their job is to monitor the biochemical environment and feed that information to the cell so that it can adapt accordingly. Again, I'll use an easy example. Any coffee drinkers in the house? Any double cappuccino, espresso, macchiato, chino, whatever it is? Yes, I know who you are. As you can tell, I'm not a coffee drinker. But if you are, then your cells will have adjusted to a biochemistry that's produced by high amounts of regular caffeine. If you don't drink coffee, they won't. That's why you can take somebody who's never drank coffee, give them a double espresso, and what happens? They're wired out of their mind. They're backflipping up the stairs. It's fun to watch. Whereas a heavy coffee drinker, you guys can have an espresso after dinner or even before bed and still be able to sleep. Blows my mind. Now, it's the same for people who move, say, from a hot country to a cold country. They're going to feel it more than the locals until their body adapts, or what we call acclimatizes. Is this making sense? Now, you may say, okay, Pete, I get that. So what? Well, here's where it gets interesting. Because when it comes to our brain, every thought we think produces a chemical, either a neurotransmitter, a neuropeptide, or a hormone, all of which changes the body's internal chemistry that your cells are swimming in. So, sticking with the weather metaphor, I want you to imagine that your thoughts are creating the inner weather that your cells are constantly acclimatizing to. So, let's say you think happy, positive, upbeat thoughts, and this creates a lovely warm climate for your cells to sunbathe in. And that weather is made up of chemicals such as dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and various types of endorphins which flood the bloodstream with biochemical sunshine. With me so far? Good, because here's a question. If your cells are acclimatized to a warm, sunny environment, what kind of clothes do you think they'd be wearing metaphorically? Well, most likely swimsuits, sunglasses, mankinis. Well, maybe not mankinis, but you get the idea. Now let's look at the other side of the coin. Let's say, like most people today, you're more prone to thinking negative thoughts or have any kind of stress or fear or anxiety. Well, those kind of thoughts produce things like cortisol and adrenaline and other stress or aging hormones, which create a very different kind of weather that your cells are acclimatized to. Think of it as rainy, cold, and grey, kind of like England in summer, which means that instead of swimsuits, these cells are wearing the chemical equivalent of hats and scarves and coats and gloves. Please tell me this is making sense. Because I want you to hold that thought as we reveal the other half of the puzzle. Another important and inescapable law, also known as Newton's first law, the law of inertia, which states, go back to school, objects in motion tend to stay in motion until acted upon by a greater force. Now, sounds a bit physics, so let me translate it into simple terms for you and I, as it relates to outgrowing old or negative behaviors. Change is hard because it's always easier to be where we are. Now, how does that tie in? Well, what I'm about to share with you is critical information. So please pay attention, because if you understand the answer to this next question, it will be life-changing for you, and you'll finally understand something most people go to their grave being totally unaware of. And instead, you'll keep wasting time and money on things that won't help or have any lasting impact. Now, I'll come to the question in a second, but first, let's set some context. Let's say, like most people, who are honest with themselves, you know deep down, I'm capable of more than what I'm currently settling for. But the main difference between last year and this year is that one more cake on the candle, which guarantees your ant and elephant are walking in opposite directions. But then something shifts. Either you go to an event, you read a book, maybe it's January the 1st, I don't know, but you're just sick and tired of living below your potential. And you wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm going to change. This year will be different. And you're serious. You change your diet, you set new goals, and all of a sudden, you're putting in new thinking, which now sends sunshine into the bloodstream instead of snow. Are you with me still? Okay, so far so good. But due to past conditioning, your cells are still wearing hats and coats and gloves. And this then creates the same circumstances most of us spend our entire life circling through again and again, between the new sunny chemicals of the thinking mind that lead to new and lasting change versus the cold adapted cells that keep you stuck with more of the same. Now, the multi-million-dollar question is, which future wins? And I can pretty much guarantee the answer to that by asking another simple question. And for some of you, this is where it will all start to make sense. Because when it comes to the law of inertia, is it easier for 50 trillion cells to change their wardrobe, or for you to just change your mind? Oh, it's not just easier. Your cells are biologically programmed to turn around and say, whoa, hang on a minute, we're all wrapped up for winter here, and you want us to go to Walmart and buy swimsuits and shades? Do you have any idea how much energy that's going to take? No. We've had a meeting, and we've decided it's way easier for you to just give us back some snow. In fact, we could do it with a blizzard down here right now. We're starting to sweat with all this new positive habit thing you're trying to form. Now, obviously, I'm using weather here as a metaphor, but the actual messages produced by your cells are very real, and they're sent either chemically via the hypothalamus, or they're sent electrically through the nerve pathways of the spinal column directly into the brain. And this then starts to show up in your life as negative self-talk, creeping self-doubt, procrastination. You start to become more pessimistic than optimistic about whether this change will last. And eventually you start self-sabotaging until the forecast is no longer predicting summer and you feel like you're heading back into winter. Tell me you're getting this. I mean, is anyone familiar with this pattern? Because I certainly was. And it felt like I was running the 100-meter hurdles of life that never ends, because I'd work hard to jump 3, but then I'd end up running back to the start to try again. Now, that's like losing 30 pounds on a diet, which most people have, by the way, but it's just the same 3 pounds they've lost 10 times. I mean, talk about Groundhog Day. But guess what? There's actually some great news in all of this. In fact, I'm going to show you now that what you just learned is in fact a reason to celebrate. Why? Allow me to spell it out. The reason you haven't succeeded at the level that you want yet isn't because you're not good enough or not smart enough, or that you're just unlucky or haven't learned enough skills or knowledge mastery. It's none of that bullshit. Stop telling yourself stories that buy into it. No, it's not you. You are amazing, capable, and worthy of success. It's just that your body has been waging biochemical warfare against your potential. Not on purpose, not because it hates you. It's just your cell inertia caused by past conditioned thinking. And in case you didn't just get the significance of that, let me reiterate. One of the primary ripple effects of understanding what I just said is that you now get to pardon yourself, forgive yourself, or whatever you want to call it. You get to stop beating yourself up in any way for all of your previous so-called failures. You can finally stop blaming yourself for not sticking to something or following through on something because you mistakenly thought that you weren't good enough, smart enough, didn't have the discipline or the power to stick with something. Do you get how powerful that is? Do you know how much energy is wasted on guilt and poor self-image as a result of not knowing this? Or how many unconscious negative beliefs keep getting reinforced, which puts you back on the hamster wheel of mediocrity? It's also why the Buddha, who, let's be honest, knew a thing or two about self-mastery, said emphatically, if you want to fly, first give up everything that weighs you down. You see, some of you have been trying to fly with ankle weights while blaming your wings. But I'm telling you, if you make some smart decisions today, we can change that. But it starts with realizing that self-mastery begins not with discipline, intelligence, or willpower, more books to read, or any of that. Wrong rabbit hole, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, there's an industry that'll sell you a map on how to run down them. But instead, it starts with cell mastery. Oh, and by the way, I had to include this image. That is a grass cell under a microscope, unaltered, no Photoshop. Yes, that is actually what grass cells look like. How cool is that? And of course, why are grass cells so happy? Because they already know it's not greener on the other side. Okay, no more bad jokes. But I also don't want to keep this as theory. You don't deserve that. I want to make this real for you. Very real. So let me share a quick case study to show you how powerful you can become when you get this right. Now, some of you may be familiar with the story of how I ended up as the only non-criminal in Pentonville, which is Britain's most violent prison, having never been arrested or accused of a crime. If not, you can check out my TED Talk online, but I'll give you the 60-second skinny on this. Myself and a multi-billion-dollar company were arguing over a years-old multi-million-dollar business deal in court when they hit me with a contempt application that I really didn't see as a threat, more of a chess move. In fact, any entrepreneurs here today will already know that when it comes to business, litigation is mainly used as a tool. But these guys were well better prepared. My ego certainly didn't help. And they sold it to the judge, who gave me 6 months as a civil prisoner. I lost everything. My business went from 50 staff to 3 staff in days, and I was left with hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal debt. And because of errors in administration, I was also kept in the worst and most dangerous prison in the country. In fact, this is an actual picture of the wing I was on. Now, for many people, that may be justifiable cause for a little bit of negative thinking, but I had 50 trillion cells who were fully conditioned to sunshine, not rain, and they would not let me see what was happening as negative. And even if a dark cloud did appear on the mental horizon, it was soon sent away. And instead of getting scared or upset or angry, I got excited. I saw this as an incredible adventure, and I made a decision not to see myself as a prisoner, but instead a secret agent of change. And cut a long story short, I ended up getting many of the prisoners off drugs. I was stopping suicides. I redesigned the intake system to help reduce violence that's now being used in prisons all over the world. I even won a national award for the work that I did. Now, I don't tell you that to impress you. I tell it to impress upon you what's possible. Were there times I felt depressed? Of course, I'm human. But at those moments, my body waged biochemical warfare, not against my potential, but against my fears and doubts. And because of that, I was able to turn what happened into one of the most incredible and awe-inspiring adventures I have ever had the privilege of living. And that level of self-mastery is available to anyone. So, let's sum up this shift, as it really is the secret weapon. First, self-mastery begins with cell mastery. Why? Because like it or not, you're an adaptation machine. Your body's constantly adjusting to its outer environment, leading to either biceps or triceps. But at the same time, your cells are constantly adjusting to their inner environment or weather caused by your habitual thinking, leading to swimsuits or scarves. Next, once you've adapted, inertia builds up, meaning your cells are then programmed to talk you out of change. Don't take it personally, they're just following the rules. But that means, and listen carefully, if you don't learn how to recondition your cells, they will always send messages designed to readjust your thinking to their wardrobe. Let that sink in. Now, the good news is that this works both ways, because once you master this, you will literally have an army standing in your corner, one that's continually programmed to make and keep you successful, to help you stay smiling no matter what, that'll snap you out of fear or depression or anxiety or feeling unmotivated. Now, the obvious question is, how do you do that? Which brings us to shift number 4, engaged neural conditioning. Now, before I explain what this is and why it works so well with everyone, no matter what your history or what shape your cells are in, let me first explain what makes people fail at this even before they start, and so you don't become one of them. And that is, all successful people train for the marathon, not the sprint. They play the longer time frame. They don't buy into what's become the biggest lie in personal growth, backed up by flashy marketing and false promises. And that is the lie of the quick fix. And I get it. I get why you want it. Yeah, you're in pain, you want to get out. You're poor, you want to be rich. You're overweight, you want to be slim. But there is no change my life in 20 minutes course, guys, and I can prove it by asking you a simple question. Now, be honest, do you know anybody who, in the history of, ever, who walked into a gym 20 pounds overweight and walked out ripped? No, you don't go to the gym once and get fit, you get sore. And you know what? That's why many never walk in at all. Because they're spending their life training for the sprint instead of the marathon. Ladies, attention back to me, please. Leave the Chippendale alone. but every great musician, entrepreneur, or athlete understands the power of this. Or to quote the great Bruce Lee, long-term consistency trumps short-term intensity. He's bang on. But what does it mean when it comes to us? Well, let's break down the words engaged neural conditioning. Engage means that whatever it is has to be engaging enough to both catch and hold your attention and stop it from wandering. Yes, even you distraction experts out there, I just saw you check your phone. I did, I saw it, right? Otherwise, you're going to tune out and there'll be zero impact, and it'll just be another course you bought and didn't finish. Neural means the activity must be focused on retraining the brain to produce specific types of chemicals that signal the receptor sites to upgrade their wardrobe. And now we get to the most important part, conditioning. You must get past the cell inertia. And a great analogy to explain this with, guys, is with a compass. And that's because your mind and my mind is very similar to a compass needle in the way that it has a default magnetic north, a place it'll usually gravitate to, which, as we know for most people, especially today, is more facing negativity than positivity, more pointing towards lack than abundance. Would you agree? More towards stress than calm. Now, the good news is that by using our conscious mind, remember this little guy, we can actually grab hold of that compass needle and point it in a new direction. Like if we're feeling sad, we can decide to call a friend or go for a walk or watch a comedy. The problem is we're only using our conscious mind 5% of the time. 95% of the time, we're what I call sleeping awake, where our elephant is in charge and we're operating out of preconditioned habit. And as soon as our little ant takes its hand off the needle, it'll always swing back to its default magnetic north. Is this making sense? Are you getting this? Now, how do you change that? Well, any physics teacher will tell you that to remagnetize a compass needle and change its polarity, you need to expose it to a stronger magnet and stroke it in a new direction over and over and over again. In other words, engaged neural conditioning is the process of reconditioning your current default thoughts in a way that your ant and elephant are finally marching in the same direction towards your success. Now, this can't happen if you're focused on the quick fix, which is why when it comes to getting ultimate self-mastery, marathoners win and sprinters fail. But as we come to the end of this training shortly, I'm going to show you the fastest proven way to break cell inertia for good and give you a plan that'll guarantee the next 12 months will be massively different. Tell me you're getting this, guys. I mean, can you imagine the difference this is going to make to your life when you really put it into practice? And that also ties in perfectly with the last of our 5 shifts, and that is commit to effective action. Now, that may sound obvious, but the key is really knowing what kind of action is effective, because as we saw at the beginning, most people are busy as hell and broke. So let me give you another powerful insight to explain what I mean. So a human being is like a bicycle. Yeah, if we're not going towards something with purpose and momentum, we lose our balance and fall over. That's how you and I are wired. And the key words here are purpose and momentum, because without that, most people are falling flat on their face in Groundhog Day when it comes to living their potential. You don't have to take my word for it. Just become a keen observer of people who are up to something, who are walking around on purpose. There's a different spark, a different energy about them. And nowhere do I see that more often than in those who have mastered what I'm sharing with you today. But if you think that taking the same action that you've been taking or trying some quick fix is going to produce a different result, you're in fantasy land. And yes, it's always nice to daydream about unicorns and rainbows and the nice new car or body you want. But at some point, if you don't take action on what you've learned today, inertia will take back over and you'll be back at square one. Anyone want that? No, I don't want it for you either. But I also care enough about you to tell it to you straight. And because for some of you, today may be the kick in the butt you finally need. And I also know you have what it takes. Otherwise, you wouldn't have shown up today. Unlike those who registered who didn't attend because they were too busy being busy. Okay, let's summarize. You're doing great, guys, by the way. Today, I promised you would discover aspects of success and personal growth most people will go to their grave never knowing. That you'd find out the real reasons why people fail and why it's got nothing to do with the skills you learn. How to stop getting in your own way and finally escape Groundhog Day, and why over 95% of money you spend in the self-help industry will never produce the results you're looking for. So, here's a final recap of what you need to win. 1. Self-mastery beats knowledge mastery all day long, unless you want to stay busy and broke. Never be fooled or distracted otherwise. This is so foundational to your success. In fact, if you were caught napping on this earlier or turned up late, let me explain it one final time so you really get the importance of this. People are not overweight because they eat too much. They're overweight because they haven't mastered their relationship to food. Just as, and listen carefully here guys, some of you need to hear this. People are not in debt because they don't earn enough money. They're in debt because they haven't mastered their relationship to money. And that's why, until you buy into making self-mastery your first priority, diets will never work, online courses will become more data for later, and money-making opportunities, no matter how good they sound or are, won't increase your net worth over time because your unconscious will always find ways to let it slip through your fingers. Which brings us to shift number 2. Release your subconscious brakes. These are our blind spots. So find a coach or a program that can uncover and solve them. Because if you don't, you'll always be running off hidden beliefs that limit you, and financial freedom will always be just that far out of reach. Shift 3, break your cell inertia. Remember, this is the real root cause of why most people's lives never really change, no matter how many courses you buy or what books you read. The best way to think of it is that breaking cell inertia is breaking your potential out of prison. 4, use engaged neural conditioning. Change the default setting on your compass, or the impact is just not going to last. And finally, the key that starts the engine, take effective action. Stop wasting any more time or money on short-term quick fix solutions and set yourself up to win by choosing today to start climbing the right ladder. Now, these shifts alone are enough to propel you from wherever your current level of achievement is and into a whole new world of success, saving you time, money, and mistakes you no longer have to make, which means now you have a choice. And to help you make the right one and to get the most out of your time today, I want to ask you an important question. Remember, questions are the steering wheel of the mind. They direct our focus. So why not ask the question that successful people always ask themselves before committing to something worthwhile? And that is, what if? And there's 2 parts to this. The first is an honest reality check on, what if I don't? But you already know where that path leads. Back on the hamster wheel of the old way where everybody's trying to convince you that that's the path. Spend more money on ineffective solutions that never address the real cause, secretly hoping this time it's going to work. Let's focus on teaching our ants more new ant skills, thinking somehow our elephant will magically change direction, and then wonder why we end up back where we started. Or deluding yourself that indisputable laws of nature somehow don't apply to us, and then wonder why the voice of self-doubt comes creeping back in. Or you can get excited about asking the question, what if I do? And play a very different game. One where you're living your life with a newfound gusto, remembering what it's like to live on purpose with a mojo that propels you forward, with an army of 50 trillion cells cheering you on, ensuring no matter what the weather anyone else is experiencing, you stay sunny, calm, and powerful, where negative comments and other people's drama don't affect you. You'll also find a person who has ultimate self-mastery is also worth way more money in the marketplace, because that's the kind of person successful people want to do business with. And with the unconscious beliefs removed, you'll start attracting more wealth and abundance to you rather than always be running off chasing it. That makes sense, right? I hope so, because everyone who's taken that path will tell you the magic, and you can't believe them until you experience it for yourself. So, if you're willing to make a declaration that this is something you're committed to, even if you never hear from me again or come across my work, make a bold statement to yourself, your brain, and the world by typing a big fat yes into the chat right now. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, you guys have got some energy. And listen, I have absolute confidence that you could take these 5 shifts we've learned, go out, research them, apply them, and go out on a solo path and put a plan together to put them into action, and you will start getting results you previously did not know how to make possible. And if that was your only option, I'd encourage it 1,000,000%. And for those who do want to do this solo, the gift that I've got that's waiting for you at the end will really help. Because even if you're committed to this, which I'm sure you are, most people don't know where to go or how to start. Or worse, they're guessing at it and often end up dabbling or going in circles. Which is why, if you look at examples of ultimate self-mastery, whether that's a monk who became a Zen master or an athlete who made it to the Olympics, you'll see it took at least 5 to 10 years of total dedication, putting in several hours a day. Now, how many people are thinking, well, sounding good up to that point, Pete, but kind of don't have a spare 5 to 10 years right now for that? My answer is, who does? And that's what led me to ask myself the very same question I just asked you. What if? What if it were possible to find a way to accelerate the entire self-mastery process so that anybody could get incredible life-changing results in weeks and months, not years or decades? where you could conquer cell inertia in as little as 90 days and achieve ultimate self-mastery in under 12 months to the point where it was impossible to fail, guaranteed. I mean, would you be happy if that was you? What would have happened if you'd have made that decision 12 months ago? You see, I don't want you to be overwhelmed today. I want you to be inspired. I want to show you what's possible. So as one of the world's leading experts in this field, I set myself the challenge to achieve that promise for you. And I've put together something that delivers on all of that and even more. I've not even had a chance to show you. In fact, for some people, it has helped conquer cell inertia in the first 45 minutes. Now, that's rare. Most of the time it takes a few weeks. But designing everything I showed you today into a foolproof system to do this took me the best part of 9 years to create. And if you don't mind, if you feel like I've kept my promise to you so far, would you guys be cool if I just take the last few minutes before the Q&A and the free gifts and show you what I believe to be the fastest and easiest ways to achieve ultimate self-mastery? If so, type me in a yes or something positive in the chat and I'll make it happen. Awesome. Thank you guys. And please get excited because you're about to be shown something very few people will ever see, which is why it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to Ultimate Self-Mastery, the most effective engaged neural conditioning program ever created for ending self-sabotage and procrastination, destroying limiting beliefs while programming both your conscious and unconscious mind for high-level abundance, while at the same time becoming stress-proof, drama-proof, mentally unstoppable, so you can start easily attracting more money, better people and opportunities, and begin living the life you deserve, not the one most people settle for. Does that sound like a better way to play the game of life? Now, that's clearly not a small claim, but you're about to discover not only why it's true, but I'm also going to take away any risk you have of finding out for yourself. So, let me show you what you're going to get. When you invest in Ultimate Self-Mastery, you get an entire 12-month, 4-phase mental upgrade program where every single week you get an unmissable, life-changing training to align your ant and elephant and get your cells quickly conditioned to automatic sunshine. This is because it uses engaged neural conditioning and spaced repetition to give a guaranteed impact over time. The program's also designed for maximum time efficiency, where your total time commitment is less than an hour a week. The lessons are delivered in a custom-designed intelligent online portal, organizes all of the learning in perfect sequence. You never have to worry about what lesson's being delivered, when, or what order. Everything is done for you, and you'll be informed as soon as the next piece of content is ready. All you have to do is literally show up and press play. Now, each lesson plays seamlessly across any platform on any device. It's also fully downloadable, meaning you can enjoy them anywhere, even when you're offline. It also means you can keep them for life. In addition, everything is multi-format, meaning, for example, the first one you're about to get today, and which, as I said, on its own has transformed many people's thinking. It's recorded in ultra-high def 4-camera shoot, captured every angle. We've professionally edited it for impact. And after you've watched it, you can download the audio version and add it to a self-mastery playlist you can create where you can listen to it anytime. Was that cool? Plus, we also give you the transcript for each lesson as well, so you can highlight and make notes if you wish. Now, you are going to love this next part. How would you feel if I said there's no need to remember anything? See, that's one of the biggest downfalls of knowledge mastery, which, if you remember from shift number 1, leads to overwhelm and confusion. No, I designed this so you don't have to try to remember anything. And that's because engaged neural conditioning is designed to layer awarenesses rather than cram you with knowledge. And this quickly gets you to unconscious competence faster than anything else. Isn't that a much better way to learn? Where was that at school? Now, I've also created a specially designed power journal that you can use or download that helps you separate the insights and ideas and the bingo moments from the action points you're going to be inspired to take. Then we get to accountability. After all, some of you are watching this because you want to break procrastination and self-sabotage, right? Yeah, I know who you are. And while I guarantee procrastination and self-sabotage are just two of the old habits that are going to quickly disappear from your life with this program, accountability is built in via an interactive comment section on every single lesson, where I ask you to leave comments on what you've learned so that myself and the other students can tell if you've done it. It's also great for retraining the brain and getting it focused. It's super powerful. So, how much is it, you ask? Great question. Well, please remember, this is a full 1-year, 4-phase program that includes a 90-day initiate phase that you'll start today, where we fix all of your cell inertia. Then we move into the creator phase, where we get your ant and elephant fully aligned. Then we have the specialist phase, where your cells get programmed for automatic success. And then we get to the mastery phase, where it becomes impossible to ever go back to limiting yourself. Plus, You get all 52 Engage Neural Conditioning workouts that are multi-format, fully downloadable, the custom portal, the power journal, the accountability, and the value of all of that is just $565 per 90-day phase or $2,259 for the year, which is amazing value. But here's a question for you that'll get your attention. And I'm probably going to regret saying it, but how many of you today would like to get all of that for free? Stay tuned. I told you I had some surprises for you. Now, you're also going to get my complete and very popular Straight Talk collection, which now sells for $1,294. And not only does this give you immediate strategies for improving your health, your relationships, and finances, but it helps cement two of the most important things we spoke about earlier in shift number 5, purpose and momentum. Think about how different the quality of your life would be with just those two things driving it. Are you getting this, guys? There is a ton of value here. And of course, my question is, how would you like to get that for free too? Come on, show me some energy here, guys. Though, I also know some of you deep down probably asking, will this work for me? And yeah, I get it. There's a lot of courses out there trying to be a one-size-fits-all, and they're not. But I didn't spend 9 years designing those programs. I designed this one. So the short answer here is yes, this works for everybody. And that includes all levels of personal growth experience. If you live in a negative environment, whether that's friends or co-workers or in-laws, this will be massively empowering. It applies to every age. We've got students from 11 to 86, all of whom have made massive shifts. This program adds huge value, whether you're single or in a relationship, whether you're a parent, if you're in or out of work, or even if you're an entrepreneur who's struggling or stressed. This program works for everybody in a powerful way. Why? Because self-mastery creates a better relationship to everything. In other words, it follows the universal truth that, like it or not, outer world follows inner world, which is why when you attain or get self-mastery of your inner world, all parts of your outer world start to shift. Make sense? Especially when it comes to money. And as an entrepreneur, I used to have so many people come up to me and say, oh, I'd love to have my own business, or I'd love to control my own income. I just don't have the money to start. And most people didn't believe me when I said that self-mastery had allowed me to build most of my successful companies with no money, no cash, credit, or debt. And to prove the point, I created a separate program called How to Start a Business with No Money. Now, I use business as an example. Not everybody wants to start one. But the main benefit of this program is that it teaches financial self-mastery, and it has liberated thousands of people when it comes to our relationship to money, which allows much more of it to show up. Now, I sell that separately for $495. I'm not offering that here today. I just wanted to remind you of what is possible when you stop chasing money-making opportunities in the outer world and first shift your focus to mastering abundance mentality in your inner world. Anyway, next we come to the second and what I feel the most exciting part of the whole program, the live monthly power coaching. Now, this is a game changer and where we get to meet every single month and I get to personally coach you live. But more importantly, I get to answer any questions you have. So I want you to relax. I want you to feel confident there's no part of this amazing journey you're about to take that you're going to get stuck on or feel uncertain about. It also allows me to bring you first access to the latest cutting edge stuff in self-mastery, communicate to you in simple terms, and that's going to save you a ton of time, research, and allow you to stop wasting time on learning things that are already out of date. Do you get how powerful this is? The call's on the last Thursday of the month. The system's going to send you all the reminders and passwords, and if you can't make it, every single call is professionally recorded. It's automatically uploaded into your Learning Vault. Now, when it comes to me coaching you guys, let me just put this in perspective. If you want to hire me right now outside of this program, my standard rates are $10,000 a month or $25,000 a quarter. That's how much I value my time, and my clients value what I deliver. But for this program, and only this program, I decided to discount that by, over 99%, which means instead of $25,000 a quarter, you get me as your coach for just $349 per 90-day phase, or just $13.96 for the year, which works out about $3 and change a day. That's like buying me a juice in Starbucks to have a $100,000 coach on your team. So now we have the complete 1-year 4-phase program with all the bells and whistles valued at $2,259, plus the Straight Talk series valued at $1,294, plus the 12 live coaching sessions with me valued at the massive discount of $13.96 for the year, giving a total value of $4,949. But let me show you how even at full price, which clearly this isn't, this program will immediately pay for itself in savings on things you no longer need or can stop buying right now. Many of you know that the average person in personal growth spends over $1,000 a year on books or courses or seminars or programs. Let me know if this is you, if you've been there. Most of which, as we now know, is chasing knowledge mastery. It doesn't create the lasting change you want. This program is designed as a one and done. It'll replace coaches. If you've got a coach, you can tell them politely you don't need them anymore. You've got the best coaching and personal transformation program available anywhere. Then we have memberships, peer groups, masterminds. All of this goes away when you invest in Ultimate Self-Mastery, saving a calculated average across the board of around $4,400 in your personal growth journey. Now that's why this program has been called the last course you will ever need. Though in reality, based on what you've learned today, it's more important to really see it as the first course you will ever need. Or you'll just be repeating patterns and collecting more data for later. And let me remind you how much time commitment you're going to need for all of this to work. 1 hour a week. And as Tony Robbins used to tell me, if you can't find an hour a week for a better life, you don't have a life. Or maybe you're thinking, does it really work? Well, I said at the beginning, I'm here to deliver results, not false promises. And I also said I didn't want you to take my word for it. That's why we've already ran the test groups. If you're curious to know the impact this is going to have on you and your life starting today, you can go to Trustpilot, you can look at any of the reviews, and I don't mean cherry pick, I mean any of them. You'll get the idea. Or you could go to Google or YouTube and just search Peter Sage success stories. So let's recap. With Ultimate Self-Mastery, you get the complete 1-year, 4-phase program delivering all 52 lessons, the Straight Talk collection, the full year of 12 live coaching sessions giving a total value of $49.49, plus all of the savings on stuff you no longer need to buy, which is over $4,400, giving a combined value of $9,349. Now, I'm not going to charge you $9,349, but I have a serious question. Let's just say that I did. And if all it did was to finally catapult you past your cell inertia and limited thinking and self-sabotage for the rest of your life, would it be worth it? Think what's that cost you up to now over the course of your whole life. Would paying under 10 grand to take the glass ceiling off what you could earn or who you could become be a good investment if that's all it did? What if all it did was eliminate 90% of the stress and worry in your life, no matter how crazy the outside world got? Or helped you form better health habits so you could live longer with less pain? Would it be worth it? What if all it did was save you the cost of a divorce, which today can run into hundreds of thousands of dollars? Or give you the courage to leave a relationship you knew it was right to leave, but you felt stuck in? Would it be worth it? Or finally, what if it allowed you to become a better role model for your partner or your kids or your friends? Would all of that be worth it? Of course, it'd be worth way more to you than 10 grand and probably be the best investment in yourself and your future happiness you would have ever made, which is why I know the value of this program. And that's exactly why when it came to pricing it for you guys today, I had a real dilemma. Put simply, I had two choices. I could easily make this a premium product and charge a high ticket price knowing it's worth every penny because of all of the incredible benefits it brings, but also knowing that would limit it to the amount of people who could afford it. Or I could make it affordable for everyone so as to reach and help as many people as I could and hopefully make a much bigger difference to you and the people you'll be able to affect and care about. And please understand, my dilemma wasn't the cost. I don't need your money. The dilemma is, if you don't treat this like a $9,349 program, would you still be committed and show up? Now that's a serious question. Because in my experience, if people don't pay much, they don't pay much attention. Let me know if you agree with that. But here's the thing. I believe in you guys. Partly because you had the commitment to show up, but more so because you've kept your word and stuck with me this far. And being upfront, that's why I've taken my time with this section. Because if I'm going to give you this at the price I'm about to, I wanted to test if you're the kind of person who can stick with me. Now, I've already seen some people who broke their promise and dropped off. But you're still here. You're still engaged and you've played full out. And your energy in the chat has been awesome. So I really think you'll do this. So thank you for waiting. And here's the deal. I'm going to take the complete 1-year, 4-phase Ultimate Self-Mastery course with all 52 lessons, all the bells and whistles. I'm going to give you that for free. I'm going to take the game-changing Straight Talk program, and I'm going to give you that for free. Now, when it comes to coaching, that's essentially what I'm going to be risking in terms of my time. Everything else is already waiting for you right now in your portal. And at $13.96, that's already $99 discounted off my normal rates of 10 grand a month. However, I also know that if you just show up and press play for the first 90 days, which is all you need to conquer your cell inertia, you'll be so blown away by the results. I know you'll complete the rest of the course and change your life and the lives of the people around you. And that's my outcome here, and I'm pretty sure yours too. Am I right? So therefore, if you are willing to cover my time on the live coaching calls for just the first 90 days, I'll give you the entire program and the rest of the year's coaching for free and let you take home the other $9,000 worth of value on me. Does that sound like a deal? Well, If any part of you says yes, then grab it now before your old patterns kick in. Simply click the link that's just come up in the chat and say to the world, yes, I'm ready to take control of my future. And for the rest of you, don't worry, I still have something amazing for you at the end as promised. Though, if you're excited and still kind of thinking about this, then there are 3 final things I'm going to share with you to make this a no-brainer. An incredible guarantee, proof of what's about to happen to you in the next 7 days, and some insanely good action taker bonuses and gifts to sweeten the deal even more. Let's start with the guarantee. Now, this is a special double guarantee that covers both your money and your transformation. Let's start with your money. And that is, I guarantee in 90 days or less, this program will have paid itself back by at least 3 times in cash. And yes, that's how fast things can shift when you unleash your subconscious brakes around money. And as for who you're going to become, I guarantee in 12 months, you will have achieved the same level of self-mastery normally attained by people who spend 5 to 10 years. You'll be so transformed, you're going to need a telescope to look back at your old life. And if any part of that misses the mark, you can keep the program and I'll return every penny back to you immediately. I don't need it. This is not about me. This is about you. Trust me, guys, my life isn't going to change whichever way you decide today, but yours will forever. And I can say that confidently because here's what many people experience in just the first 7 days. In fact, you'll all see these when you log in along with hundreds of others. Like Robert, who wrote, "Lesson 1 has already shifted me massively." Or Daniel, who states, "Quite possibly the most inspirational 45 minutes I've ever experienced." Or Lave, who said, "This is the base of becoming a new person and living a new life." And I love this one. "Only 45 minutes in, but I had to pause many times to breathe." And okay, I sneaked one in from lesson 2. Wow, only week 2 and already blown away. I love the shift I'm already feeling taking place since I've embarked onto this journey. And that's in 1 to 2 weeks. Imagine 52. Okay, let's talk bonuses. Now, bonus number 1 is for fast action takers only, as it's limited to a maximum of the first 50 people. And you'll see why, as I just can't give this to everyone. But this is huge, because I'm giving away 50 individual one-on-one strategy sessions with one of my top success coaches to get you started on the right foot. Why? Because, and please listen to me, remember what I said about courses most people buy never get completed, but instead become that data for later? I looked at that and I found the biggest reason they didn't finish was because they didn't even begin. After all, what's the best way to finish something? Start it. Let's face it, it'd be pretty ironic if you procrastinated on starting the one program that could finally release you of procrastination. Now, just to be clear, this is not with me. You get me on the monthly group calls, but I charge $3,000 to do a personal strategy session like this, and my time is limited. But as a commitment to the first 50 people, I'm going to offer you the same session that I'm paying for with one of my trained coaches, so together we can get you off to the absolute best start. Now, this next bonus is for everyone, and that is a critical puzzle piece that you will definitely want. Because even as good as ultimate self-mastery is, there's one other thing that'll really help guarantee your success. Can you guess what it is? Now, I know we've covered a lot here, and you guys are doing great, but remember back to shift number 3, where we said the law of conformity states environment beats will. Well, an easy way of translating that for us is you become who you hang with. In other words, if you're hanging around with 9 people who are negative, always complaining, telling you why life is hard, over time, you're likely going to become the 10th. If you hang around with 9 inspired, motivated people who look at life through the lens of how I can, not why I can't, you're going to become the 10th. You can't avoid that. It's the law of conformity, which is why I wanted to address this as a critical part of your success. Because with me and Ultimate Self-Mastery in your corner, your inner game will transform like no other program you have ever been on. I've already double guaranteed that. But there's something I can't do. If some of the people you're currently hanging out with resemble the cast of Shameless, you know what I'm talking about? I can't come to your house and change that. Neither can I come to your work and change the mindset of your boss. And no, I can't trade in your mother-in-law for a better one. In other words, I can't come and upgrade your peer group, but I can do the next best thing, and that's teach you how to do it. Because the only thing better than achieving ultimate inner self-mastery is surrounding yourself with a group of equally awesome, kick-ass, high-level peers and great friends who think the way that you do, who set the kind of goals that you want to achieve, that hold you to a standard and cheer for you, that fan the flames of your dreams, not stamp them out. Well, as a special bonus, when you join Ultimate Self-Mastery today, I'm also going to include my famous Upgrade Your Peer Group Masterclass. This is a powerful 2-hour training which has changed so many lives and shows you step by step how to surround yourself with other like-minded people that are going in the same direction as you. Or how do I say this? Elegantly remove yourself from people you've outgrown, but without upsetting anybody or ruining friendships. I even share the secrets on how I built my own powerful peer group from scratch back when I thought I had nothing to offer. I mean, can you imagine the difference just this one training can make to your life? So let's just remind ourselves what's available here. You are getting the complete 1-year 4-phase Ultimate Self-Mastery Program, all 52 pieces of engaged neural conditioning content in multi-format downloadable, the Intelligent Membership Portal, the Power Journal, the entire Straight Talk Collection, the full Leader of Me coaching you live, the Upgrade Your Peer Group Masterclass, the special strategy session for the first 50 people, plus the savings on stuff you no longer need to buy or waste money on, which gives a total value of over $9,349, which I'm practically giving away today for just $349, which is over 95% discount, saving you $9,000. And it gets better because I've saved the best 2 bonuses for last, plus an amazing one for everybody who stays to the end as a commitment to my word, whether you take this offer or not. But these last 2 bonuses are insane, and I'm including them for those who take this offer today because I want to over-reward your brain for making good decisions rather than having the old way of procrastinating continue to ruin your future. And besides, I think you and your brain are going to like this. Do you remember back in Shift 2 where we talked about how geniuses were able to master their own brainwaves? Well, how would you like to be able to do the same so that in minutes you could enter states of super learning or laser focus, unlimited creativity, or be able to push a button and drop into a calm, relaxed state or have much deeper, better sleep? Well, I have a program that is scientifically proven to do all of that through the established technology of neural brainwave entrainment. And all you need to do to make it work is put on a set of headphones. It's called the Learning Genius Toolkit, and I sell this all day long on offer for $427. But today, as soon as you join Ultimate Self-Mastery, I'm going to give you that as well for free. And guys, I'm not making this up. You can log onto my website right now and go buy this on special offer at $427. And just stop for a second. Can you imagine the difference just this one program will make to your life? Imagine being able to turn on your genius anytime you wanted, or able to get into a super focused state to get that project done without any distractions. Finally banish data for later from your life. Well, don't imagine. Teach your brain to act on good decisions, and it's yours. And that brings us to the very last bonus I'm going to give you. And being completely truthful, guys, the real reasons I'm giving all of this away and trying to offer so much value to you is twofold. The first is because of how this industry has treated us in the past. No more of this guy. Instead, I want to make this the best and most amazing value-packed offer you will ever see online. Yes, I want you to be our next 5-star review. And the second and bigger reason is because of the current global climate. I know there are a ton of people struggling out there right now, and you may be one of them. And I have confidence that what is actually going to get us all through this and into a better future is more people showing up as the best version of themselves. And one of the fastest ways to handle that is to quickly upgrade your relationship to money and get some cash in your pocket. So, as an amazing final cherry on the cake, do you remember the How to Start a Business with No Money program that completely reinvents your relationship to money? This is where you're going to learn everything that I know about making money in easy, bite-sized lessons. Now, not only has it given me a multi-million-dollar lifestyle since my early 20s, but more importantly, it's allowed me to make it back faster each time I lost it. Because yes, I make mistakes too. But using what you're about to learn, I've always bounced back stronger. Wouldn't you like to know how to program your mind to automatically do that? I mean, wouldn't that be an insanely useful skill to have? And remember, this is not about business. This is just one of the cool things you'll learn. It's about putting you on the fast track from mental scarcity into abundance. And also the reason I can guarantee that you'll earn, attract, or save an extra $1,000 minimum in your first 90 days if you apply what you learn. And yes, if you act now, I'm also going to include this whole program for you for free as one of your gifts. That's really my best offer. So grab it now by clicking the button. And if you don't, there's probably only one reason I can think of. You're saying, I want it, but Pete, I still can't afford it. And if that is you, listen carefully. Whenever you say, I can't afford it, your brain stops working. In fact, that pattern alone can be what's keeping you stuck in scarcity, likely linked to your subconscious brakes and beliefs around money. But instead, when we ask, how can I afford it, your brain is put to work and you start looking for a plan B. And as it happens, I have one for you. Because wouldn't it suck to miss out on this because your old self had put you in a position where you couldn't even afford the ladder that would allow you to climb out of that kind of financial hole? Even this golden ladder I'm offering at a wooden price. Well, if that's you, the good news is I got you covered. And because I'm not having anybody who wants this leaving today without being able to get it. I care too much about your future, and so should you. So when you click to order now, you'll go straight to the page that has this incredible offer with all of the bonuses, including the Learning Genius Toolkit and the How to Start a Business with No Money, all for just $349. But underneath, you'll also see for those who want this but are struggling right now, I've given a monthly option of just $49, which gives you the same full access to the entire program, but paying monthly. And you can cancel or pause at any time with no penalty. The only caveat with this, guys, is that it does not include the bonuses of the Learning Genius Toolkit and the How to Start a Business with No Money, or the private one-on-one for the first 50 people. I can't give those away for just a $49 commitment. Understand? I mean, that has to be fair, right? So for the final time, before we wrap up with questions, here is your Ultimate Self-Mastery solution. You have the complete 1-year, 4-phase Ultimate Self-Mastery program valued at $2,259. You get the full Straight Talk collection valued at $1,294. You get me to coach you live for a whole year, the insanely good Upgrade Your Peer Group Masterclass, the entire Learning Genius Toolkit, the amazing How to Start a Business with No Money, and if you're a fast action taker, you also get the free personal strategy session with a trained success coach to start you off on the right foot and set you up to win. Yes, you get everything for just $349 or just $49 a month if you don't want the last 3 bonuses. In fact, wow, when I put it like that, that is the best offer I have ever given in 30 years for anything. And all you need to do is click the button, and I'm going to leave that offer live for just 15 minutes while I answer questions, and then it's gone. So let's go to the questions, as some of you have typed some in already, and I'll have my team relay them on screen here so we can go through them. So let's start the offer timer here, guys, as well. Okay, let's have the first question, which is, when does it start? I like your style. A lot of enthusiasm there. Well, this is an evergreen program. We designed it to start when you do. As I said, you're about to get the first lesson, which is mind-blowing. And in next week, when you start week 2, those people who you saw were already transforming on week 1, they'll be on week 2. They'll be on week 3, you'll be on week 2, and whoever starts next week will be on week 1. Does that make sense? But where it does really come together as a group is where we do the monthly group coaching. This is where we all come on the call on the last Thursday of the month, depending on my travel schedule, usually about 5 p.m. UK time. And I know, guys, depending on the time zone of the world, we've got so many people around the world joining this program. That's kind of the time that we stick to, unless, as I said, I am traveling. But the great news about the coaching each month is you get to see people who are further down the train tracks than you are, and you get to see what's coming. That gives not only positive confirmation, but it really kind of instills a sense of conviction into why you should stick to this and keep going, because you see what's possible. It's pretty amazing stuff. Next, what's the difference between the annual and the monthly? There is no difference. It is the same Ultimate Self-Mastery program that gets drip-fed to you over those 52 weeks with engaged neural conditioning and spaced repetition. The difference between the annual and the monthly is simply the payment plan and the fact you don't get those bonuses with it, because honestly, I can't. I'm not holding you to pay the whole amount here. If you want to cancel or pause after 2 or 3 months, if you can do. I'm making this as flexible to you as I can. But essentially, if you're taking the annual, then you are paying for 7 months and getting 5 free. That's the best way of looking at it, along with over $1,000 worth of bonuses and a strategy call if you're in the first 50 people. But the program itself, there's no difference in quality. It's not like a gold tier versus a silver tier, none of that stuff. It's the same way. I've just created a way that people who are struggling right now can get on board. How soon can I expect results? Again, I love your style, but please be mindful of what we talked about on shift number 4, which is sprinters fail, marathoners win. Set yourself up to win. Now, what I can say is that the first lesson is powerful, and you're going to get this today, guys. As soon as you log in, you're going to see 2 things. You're going to see a welcome video, and then you're going to see the first lesson that'll be released. Now, the welcome video itself is exceptionally powerful, but the first piece of content is stunning. In fact, we've had people whose lives have changed just because of lesson 1. As I said, it doesn't normally kill cell inertia on its own. Don't get your expectations up. That's a 90-day program that guarantees that. But Yeah, the first lesson has been massively transformative for so many people. I had a client that became a private client, $10,000 a month, because he went through that first lesson, and he was actually driving on the way to his business to meet with his investors to tell them they were closing the business. He was going to file for bankruptcy, couldn't do it anymore. And on the car journey, on the way to that meeting, he was listening to lesson 1 that you're about to get. When he showed up at the meeting, he walked in, he says, guys, we're turning this around. Within 12 months, his business won the #1 award in its class, in its industry. Big presentation at Harrods, over 3,000 people attended. It was after that he called me and says, wow, if this is what it's done for me, I want you one-on-one. So, how soon can you expect results? Very soon, but the guaranteed transformation here is over 12 months. So please just have that as a time frame. You can get a muscle pump by going to the gym, but if you want permanent weight loss, it does take time over a period. Make sense? Cool. How do I book my strategy session? Well, if you're one of the first 50 people, then yes, please listen carefully. When you sign up, you're going to get an email, and there'll be a link to go through a short questionnaire that'll allow us to gauge where you're at on your journey. Because what I found using experience here, guys, is that some people, the call is far better about a month into it when you've got some foundation to build on. Now, as a minimum, I have briefed these coaches to say you are not allowed to take the call unless you've done at least the welcome video and lesson 1. That is bare minimum. If you're not willing to commit to that, I'm not willing to pay a coach to give them the time to work with you. That's got to be fair. But you will be able to get scheduled on that depending on how we feel it's best going to serve you. But as soon as you get the welcome email, then please go click the link, go if that you're one of the first 50, and we will then process that for you. Again, we've got a lot of people sometimes outside that are paying for these sessions, so you guys are getting it free. I've only got so many people and so many slots. If it is busy, if it is a few days or a week or two, in fact, please have some patience. This is a bonus for you guys, so work with me on that. Sound fair? Cool. Next. What about the other gifts? Oh yes, of course, I promised you all some gifts. Well, guess what? I mentioned about the, when you buy Ultimate Self-Mastery, you have initially you'll have the really powerful welcome video that's going to guide you through the program, but coupled with that, there's some really strong content in there that's really going to help set you up to win, not only on how to get the most out of it, but also on how to engage with understanding habits. Now, as a gift to everybody here, as a thank you for staying your commitment, I'm going to give every single one of you that welcome video. Right? Because even if you don't take the program, there's some really good stuff in there. It's about 20 minutes long. It's high-level content, and you're going to understand. If you're going on the solo path, then you're going to understand how bad habits are formed. You're going to understand a lot about the power of consistency, and hopefully that's just going to give you a real leg up on the ladder if you want to go out and do it on your own, so you can understand not only how this program works, but some of the issues that we address, and at the same time allows you to, set yourself up to win. Does that make sense? And of course, you're going to get a link to the slides to be able to download as well. I'll see if I can get a transcript of this set up and emailed out to you. And you know what I'm going to do as well? As a thank you, I'm going to take one of the coaching calls that we do. In fact, the coaching calls, I saw that pop up as another question actually, but I'm going to take one of the coaching calls that we do on the monthly basis, and I'm going to take some of the pieces out of that and send it to everybody as well, just as a thank you, so you get an idea of some of the ways that I'm helping people, and I think you'll really enjoy that. What else have we got? So my card's not accepted, how else can I pay? Guys, please listen to me. If your bank is trying to protect you because some AI algorithm security thing has flagged up that this is an online transaction, do not let that talk you out of getting your future that you deserve. Call the bank, get resourceful, try it 2 or 3 times, then if not, figure out another way, use a different card. Don't let something like this, as simple as this, stop you from claiming the future that you deserve. If I pay monthly, can I upgrade? Guys, we're not set up for that at the moment. It really is about trying to help people that don't have that $349, but I try to really stack the value for that as much as I can to tempt you. But let me share it this way. I'm a business guy. Let's talk numbers for a second. Now, there's 2 people that will finance this program for you. One's called Visa, one's called MasterCard. Now, the challenge that most people have with credit cards is that they use them destructively. They engage in destructive debt, not constructive debt. For example, I just got an invite recently to go over and spend time on Necker Island with Sir Richard Branson. Now, I can promise you that Sir Richard Branson is hundreds of millions of dollars in debt more than you are. Now, how do I know that? Because he understands the power of constructive debt. That's money that's being used to work. Now, most people, they use destructive debt. If you go and buy a meal in a restaurant, it's gone. Buy a bottle of wine, it's gone. A cinema ticket, it's gone. Buy a car, it depreciates. But if you put something like this, I mean, $349, let's run the numbers, guys. Yeah, average credit card interest, 22%. What's that going to be? In my head, $76 for the year to finance this program for you. And you have the guarantee that in 90 days, you're not doing way more money than you've invested. I'm going to underwrite the risk for you. I'm going to give you the money back. So, go for this. And the other reason I want to really inspire people to go for the annual is because I used to run a large chain of health clubs. I built an award-winning chain called Energy Health and Fitness. I found it back in 2003 with a dear friend and business partner who sadly passed away recently. And I knew that out of that 100,000 members that we had, that if somebody joins in January, always the time people say, I want to change, and then don't realize sell inertia is going to talk them out of it. But they joined in January. If they paid annually, they were far more likely to be there in August, September. If they paid monthly in January, chances are by April they weren't there. So, there's something about having an annual commitment that your brain says, I'm in, if you do it up front. So that's why I've stacked the value here to make it kind of pay for 7, get the whole year, and $1,000 with the bonuses. This is what I would highly recommend. But if you really, really can't do it, and you can't get resourceful, you can't find a way to pay the $349, you haven't got friends you can borrow it from, you haven't got, as I say, ask the question, how can I afford this? Not, I can't, because that just engages the brain rather than shuts it off. Next we have, are the coaching calls recorded? Yes, they are. And again, these calls, guys, are so powerful. You're going to learn a lot and get a lot of breakthroughs from other people's questions. That's a really big part of this as well. I mean, there's only so many questions I can obviously get through in the 90 minutes or so that we spend together, but I can promise you, they are powerful. In fact, we now have an entire library of the previous 12 months coaching calls. And if you sign up today or go to joinselfmastery.com, I am going to include that in your learning vault for you. Now, that's an extra, $1,300 and whatever dollars worth of coaching that I'm going to give you today as well if you sign up. And the benefit of that is not because I'm trying to overload you, but again, you can stack this into a playlist. If you're walking the dog, if you're waiting for a bus, if you're sitting in a waiting room at a dentist, whatever it is, don't go scrolling through anti-social media. Don't go getting involved in somebody else's agenda that's trying to hook your attention into something that doesn't serve you or your greatness. No. Create a playlist of previous coaching calls you haven't gone through yet and start inspiring yourself. Start programming yourself for success. There's absolutely no excuse with how we've set this program up for you not to be the person that you were born to be. Can I explain more about the peer group training? Oh my goodness. Guys, please listen carefully. Now, the peer group masterclass is wrapped into what we call a 5-day challenge because we take those 2 hours and break them into bite-sized chunks over 5 days, 20 minutes or so. They're powerful, and I'm going to teach you how to create your own peer group and give you some of the insights on how I created mine and what went into it. Now, why is this so important? I told you, self-mastery will handle your inner game, but environment beats will. Let's just revisit that one more time. I can teach you all the strategies for staying warm. I can teach you how to make warm soup, wrap warm up in warm clothes, jog on the spot. But if you choose to still live in a freezer, it's going to win over time. It's the law of conformity. So, and this is great because you sign up today, you're going to get the welcome video, the 20-minute video, which everybody's going to get. But if you sign up for the program, you'll get that. You'll get the first piece of content, which is mind-blowing. And you've then got 7 days before the next piece of content is layered onto you. That's a perfect opportunity to get started on the peer group training. And just set yourself up to win. Make sense? Cool. I don't know the course has got average results. How will this be different? Don't know where you've been for the last hour, but I appreciate the question. There's a lot of people with doubt. Guys, 99% of what you've done, I assert, has been based on knowledge mastery and doesn't take into account the uniqueness of what I've shared with you today, which is why we get results we get. I can't say more than that, and I've double guaranteed it. Swing the bat. Yeah, go try it. That's what I'm saying. Lesson 1. If lesson 1 doesn't blow your mind, then yeah, I have no idea what will. But this is different. Can I do this with my spouse? Yes, although I'm not quite sure which direction this question is coming from. So let me address both. One is you want this for somebody else. There's a warning with that, guys. Yeah, if you say, hey, I've been and got this course, it sounds perfect for you, even with the right intention, a loving intention, a lot of people will kick back because you're going to learn something about this when we get into week number 6 on the training on understanding human behavior at a really great way. And what that's going to do is it's going to teach you about something called the primary fear, which is the fear we're not enough, something everybody has at some degree. And if you go and say, hey, this is something that I've got for you, I think it's really going to help with whatever issue you think they have, what they're going to hear is, I'm not good enough, so therefore you're trying to fix me. And there's unconscious kickback. Yeah, we call it the circuit breaker. You'll learn about it as we go forward. So far better if you want to do it with your spouse, not to go tell them, hey, this is what you're going to do because it's going to be good for you. Nobody wants to be told what to do. Nobody wants fixing. Instead, yeah, you become the example and the invitation. You start this course. Get excited. Say, I've just bought this course. I'm going to do it. I'd love you to come see what you think to it. But don't put pressure on them. You go through, and remember what I said at the beginning? People will start to notice the difference. You're going to walk with an air of confidence that people will start to say, hey, what's happened to you? And then you become the invitation. That's the best way to do it. Now, if you're saying, can I do it with my spouse? And, do we have to buy it twice? Guys, I'm not here to sell you 2 courses. Yeah, if you've got your spouse sitting next to you on the coaching call, I'm like, oh, did they just pay 1 or 2? That's not what I'm about. Yeah, take it, share the login with your spouse, do it together. You're going to bond stronger as a family. Yeah, I'm here to help create lasting change. I'm not here to try to grab what I can for an extra piece of whatever. I think you should know that by now. We're about out of questions here, guys. I think that's about it. I'm actually going to leave that just running to the end. But in fact, let me just pull this off and get the camera back on. Is that going to make a noise? It's going to make a noise. There we are. Let me just get rid of that. Let me just stay with you for another second here, guys. In fact, yes, I know. I heard you. Shush noise. Right. Let me get that off. Okay, camera back on. Yes, there we are. And guys, I just want to say a huge thank you from my heart to yours for sticking with your commitment and really seeing this thing through to the end. I hope you've been inspired today. I hope you've taken lots of notes. I hope you've got a plethora of bingo and aha moments. And I just want to leave you one final insight. See, Tony used to say that it's in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. And while there's some truth in that, I want to add one more layer. See if this is true for you. See, I found that if you make a decision, important decision, let's say I want to get up at 4 o'clock tomorrow morning because I've got somewhere to go or a plane to catch or what have you. And I don't set an alarm, but I set an intention. I usually sleep through. But if I set the intention, I want to get up tomorrow at 4, and I set an alarm, I take an action towards it. I usually wake up 1 or 2 minutes before the alarm and turn it off. Now, that's because there is a power in making a decision, but there is a magic that shows up when you make an action in alignment with that decision. Showing up here today was powerful for you, but if you really want to bring the magic, take the next step forward. Now, I don't know how to explain that other than every time I've made an action towards something that'll change my life for the better and I've reached up, the universe has reached down. Now, you're going to learn a lot about many different things on this program, but it only starts with you if you make the decision. You do that, I'll bring the magic, and I can't wait to see you on the first lesson. I love you guys. Stay amazing. I'll see you soon.